Alright guys, so today we're going to check out MX vs ATV All Out in or on the road to MX vs ATV Legends. Is MX vs ATV All Out still good in 2022? Well, in my opinion, it's actually better. Now hear me out. The reason I say it's better is because I went back to play the game on console. I played it on the OG PlayStation, which is where I started playing this game. Just to see where the performance was, to see if frame rate ever was completely fixed and put to an acceptable performance. And you'd be surprised. You would be surprised. It's been years since I played it there, but we have some of that to show you. We have a bunch of different gameplay, first person, and the reason it's first person is because, in my opinion, this is the way the game looks the best. Okay, I'm doing a video, so I want it to look good. This is, in my opinion, how the game looks the best. The first person camera was awesome. You could change the field of view, you could change the position. It just looks good, and it kind of hides some of that weird stuff you see in third person, right? The biggest complaint I had, and we're riding the Pro National tracks, so they did add the Pro National Motocross tracks. If you didn't know, or if you have been living under a rock, they're in the game. This is Unadilla, my favorite track of all time. But what do I mean by the weird stuff? So the bike sounds weren't great in the game. That wasn't the biggest issue for me. I was okay with it. The biggest issue I have, and they did do some patching to try to improve it, but the ground physics were always a bit off. Always a bit. The cornering just didn't feel quite right, and the way the bike reacted to the ground when it got rough, so the terrain deformation, the braking bumps, the acceleration bumps, the way the bike reacts to that, it gets so bouncy, right? The bike, it kind of pogo sticks around, and it just doesn't feel right. And the terrain deformation is really good in this game. They got better at making, especially the Pro Nationals here, they got better at making the tracks be rough and have the ruts on it and whatnot. So the bike, it just gets really bouncy, and it makes the experience you have on the track not as fun, in my opinion. You know, you can hit a tiny acceleration braking bump, preload off of it, and just bounce all over the place. It's like the bike can't stay on the ground, and that's unfortunate. And I know some people that are really good at the game and played a ton still will say that you need a good bike tune. Well, maybe that can help, but I've played with a bunch of bike tuning. I played the game a ton. I've played through the update to make the ground physics better, and it just still feels like that. Not as much if you have a good bike tune and are good at the game, but it's still there. That is probably the biggest complaint I have with the game, and I hope they can, iron that out for Legends. And the bike also felt pretty light at times. Sometimes it felt heavy, but when you would land, if you didn't land in a good way. But other times, such as in first person, the bike could feel weightless, such as similar to MX GP3. The bike could feel very, very light. The floatiness and all that jazz that people really didn't like, I'm okay with. I didn't really have a big problem with that. The physics were free. You could do a bunch of stuff with the whips, and you could even do oppos in the game. It was a ton of fun, and it is a ton of fun. We're gonna go back to, is the game good in 2022? Still good. Yes, in my opinion, it's actually better. And the reason I say that is because here we switch over to the console. This is a PS4, OG PS4 gameplay. And it's a bit shocking because we were just on PC, so the frame rate doesn't look as good. But the frame rate, as far as I could tell, was a solid 30. And you might say, well, we should be getting 60. Well, maybe on a PS5 or a new Xbox, but on an OG PS4, I'm okay with them hitting the solid 30 FPS mark, and it felt like they did. It didn't have, for me at least, it didn't have any bad frame drop or just not good game performance. It felt pretty good. And I haven't even played this game on console for years probably, so I don't know exactly when it got this good. I know they patched a bunch and it got better, but it wasn't where it needed to be. Well, now it feels like it's where it needs to be, and I applaud them for sticking with it and trying to do the best they could to make the game acceptable, and they got it there. It took a while. Yeah, it definitely took a while, but they got there and they stuck with it. So they're committed to making their games good, the best they can. So thank you for sticking with this and not just abandoning it and just having it have a terrible game performance. They got it to where it should be. And I tried playing some of the tracks I remember that had bad frame drop. The beach tracks with the ocean were always pretty bad. I don't have them in the video. I did, but I decided to show more PC gameplay. I did play them, and they felt fine. They honestly did. It's not just me saying that. When I played them, I did not encounter any really bad frame drop or inconsistent frame rate. It always felt, for the most part, a pretty solid 30. So yeah, acceptable in my opinion. And that's why I'm saying the game, in my opinion, is actually better than it was when it came out, because now you have good frame rate on console. You have tons of content DLC that came out at a fair price. I mean, the hometown track pack, that was 2 big compounds for $5. That was a fair price. The Pro Nationals are like $15, pretty fair price. They reworked the stock base national tracks in the game because they were pretty universally disliked by the community. So they reworked them, made them rougher, changed some sections on them, just made them pretty solid. Tons of DLC, track DLC, and for the most part, again, a fair price. They added time of day to it. Here we're riding the Crescent Lakes compound from the hometown track pack, and it's basically nighttime, and it looks awesome. So they put a ton of effort into this game. The terrain deformation is really good. It was just the ground physics, the cornering, the way the bike couldn't soak up any of the roughness. That was probably the biggest complaint I have with the game, and I'm hoping they can sort it out for Legends. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Did you like the game? Did you never like the game? Did you not like it first and then it kind of grew on you? Or how do you feel about it? I'm really curious to see. I'm trying to reply to you guys in the comments in a timely manner. Sometimes it took forever for me to get back to you. I'm trying to get back to you a lot quicker. So let me know in the comments. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.